Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my first book haul of 2025. Pretty much all the books that I'm going to show you guys today I got on or around Christmas. Some of them were given to me as gifts and then a lot of them I used like Christmas money or gift cards to buy them for myself. So kind of a what I got for Christmas book haul. I'm so excited about each and every one of these books and a lot of them I am planning to pick up and read very soon. So I wanted to share them all with you guys in a haul beforehand. With that, let's jump right in. I'm going to start with the books that were gifted to me by other people for Christmas first. Starting with The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I believe this one is considered a classic and it's been on my TBR for a while. I know Sylvia Plath is best known for her poetry. I'm pretty sure this is one of her only, if not the only novel that's not like a collection of her poems, but I'm just so very intrigued by her work and by Sylvia Plath as a person. I know that she struggled a lot with mental health and it seems like the things we're exploring in this book kind of mirror what was going on in her own life. This book seems to be more of a character study following our main character Esther, and it seems like we're following her on her journey as she kind of has a mental breakdown. So it might be a bit heavy and sad. I'm definitely going to have to be in the right headspace before I jump into this one. I've never read anything by her, but I've seen a lot of quotes by her just here and there kind of on social media and just in other books that I've read. And every time I read one of her quotes, it really resonates with me. I really connect to it. It feels like a thought that I've literally had and she plucked from my brain. So I'm like, I really need to read this book because I know it is one of her best known works. I am intimidated by it though, both because of the subject matter and because it's a classic. For some reason, classics always intimidate me. I just feel like they're not going to be the easiest things to read and I'm really going to have to take my time with it because it's not something I can just fly through and digest really easily. But I am so interested to read this one and finally say that I read some of her work. I also got The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I believe besides The Secret History, this is the only other book that she's ever published. I love The Secret History. It's one of the most unique books I've ever read. So this book very much intrigues me as well. And it also does intimidate me. I think because of the sheer size of it, it's over 700 pages, but it just sounds like a very interesting story. I know we follow this young boy and one day he's in this art museum with his mother. He is very distracted by this painting of this goldfinch, which is actually a real life painting. It's not just a fictional work in the book. There ends up being an attack at this art museum, I believe, and the boy survives, but his mother does not. And then we follow the aftermath of that and kind of see the boy after this and after losing his mother and for years to come and just following his life and his journey. I've heard very good things about it and I'm very intrigued. I feel like more people have read The Secret History, so I just knew so much about that one before going in. This one, I haven't heard quite as many things, so I'm very interested to go in and kind of form my own opinion, see how I feel about it in comparison to The Secret History, although I know they are very different. I'm kind of interested to compare based on her writing style, see how it differs from that book, as well as see the similarities and what I end up thinking of this one. This also was adapted into a movie too, so I'm excited to watch that after I read the book. I also got The Wedding People as a gift. This was one that I saw so much last year. I feel like it was all over Goodreads and I was just so drawn to the cover. I really try not to judge books by their covers, but this one is just so beautiful. And then the reviews did end up matching with how much I liked the cover because everyone has been raving about this book. It also sounds so interesting to me. I feel like it's going to be a great story. We follow our main character in this one who goes away for the weekend to this hotel and there just so happens to be a wedding taking place this same weekend at the same hotel. This woman though is the only person there not really associated with the wedding and she gets mistaken, I think, for a wedding guest. She ends up kind of befriending the bride and it sounds like they both confide in one another. This one off the bat, it seems like it would be a lighthearted fun summer read, but I have heard that it packs more of a punch. So I feel like that will make for an even deeper, better story though, since it has some emotional depth to it. Really excited to read this one and I am planning to pick it up in the summertime. I also got The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This one has actually been on my TBR for so long, probably since high school. So it's crazy that I haven't read this yet because I love Oscar Wilde. I read quite a bit of his work too. He was always the author I would pick to do my English projects on. I just found him so fascinating and so intriguing as a historical figure. So I really need to read this one since it's one of his most well-known books. Really all I know about it though is that we're following Dorian Gray as he becomes kind of obsessed with this portrait of himself. I'm really interested to see the themes of the book because I've heard that they are very relevant to today as well and kind of just very universal themes. So I'm really excited to see more of what this one is about. I feel like I've always clicked with Oscar Wilde's writing style. And I also feel like this one kind of gives me dark academia vibes, so I'll probably read it around fall time. Another one I'm saving for spooky season is The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This one takes place in 2 timelines and we're following 2 different perspectives. One timeline is in the 80s and we're following this woman who worked at this motel, and while she was there, very weird things happened to her. And in present day, we actually follow this woman's niece who's going back to the Sundown Motel to kind of get answers. We find out that her aunt actually disappeared. So I think it's going to be so interesting to see what happens. I feel like the 2 timelines and the 2 perspectives are going to make this a very fast-paced read. It sounds like it's going to be so scary and maybe have a little bit of a paranormal element to it. So cannot wait to read this one around spooky season. Another one I'll probably save for spooky season as well is Tender is the Flesh, because this is a dystopian horror novel. In the world where this book is set, animal meat is no longer able to be consumed, so the people in this world have resorted to cannibalism. That concept to me just sounds crazy, but it's so interesting to read about. I've heard this book has the most shocking plot twist, so I cannot wait to read it and find out what it is. It's also a pretty short book as well. It's like just over 200 pages, so I feel like I'm gonna binge it, fly through it, read it super quickly. So excited to read this one around spooky season. Next are the books that I got for myself. The first one is Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. I have absolutely been loving the Heartstopper series. I've also started the TV show adaptation and love that as well. Nick and Charlie just have my heart. They are so adorable and sweet to read about. And while these books are just so cute and such a mood booster, they also touch on really important topics that I feel like are so great to read in a coming of age novel. I feel like this is one I'm gonna read around Valentine's Day time, because I know in this book Nick and Charlie go on a school field trip to Paris, which sounds perfect for the season of love. Also, as an American, the thought of being able to go to Paris on a school field trip, I just cannot wrap my brain around that. I am so jealous of people who live in Europe and just are in such close proximity to other countries. Crazy to think about, but so cool. So excited to continue on with Nick and Charlie's story. I also got You with a View by Jessica Joyce. This is one I saw a lot last year. I feel like Jessica Joyce kind of got more hype from The X-Files, but I picked up this one to read first because it's the one that caught my eye first, and I've always kind of had it on my radar. It sounds like it's going to be such a sweet story with such a fun plot as well. I know our 2 main characters were rivals in high school, and they end up reconnecting after our female main character's grandmother passes away. She ends up seeing this photo of her grandmother with this man. She tries to find out who the man is, and it is her high school rival's grandfather. They find out that their grandparents actually used to be engaged to one another, so they end up embarking on their honeymoon road trip that the grandparents had planned but never got to go on, and the grandfather comes along with them, which sounds so fun. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of tension, and I feel like it's going to be a story that has a lot of depth to it as well. I feel like this is one I might read around Valentine's Day time. There are just hearts all over the front, the spine, and the back of the book. So cute and sounds so swoon-worthy. I next got How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. This one I actually bought from this romance book truck that is now in my area and is doing pop-ups all around the city. If you follow me on Bookstagram, you might have seen me post pictures from getting to visit it, but I'll put a picture in now if you haven't seen it yet. It is just the cutest thing ever, and the girls who run it are so nice and so sweet, and they convinced me to buy this book because they said it was so good. I also was really drawn to this one. I'm going in a bit blind, but what I do know is that the author is actually the screenwriter for Emily Henry's People We Meet on Vacation adaptation, and I think she's also writing Beach Read. So that intrigued me a lot. People We Meet on Vacation is my favorite Emily Henry book, so I really wanted to read the screenwriter's own book. I've heard this one is more women's fiction than it is romance, but I'm still very excited to read it. Going in a bit blind, I don't want to know too many details. All I know is that the characters in the book are screenwriters and it takes place in Hollywood. So I feel like I might read this one either around Valentine's Day time or push it back and read it during the summer, because I feel like the California setting and like the movie set vibes give great summer romance energy. I next picked up The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. Last month I read Beth O'Leary's latest release, which is The Wake Up Call, and I love that book so much. It just confirmed for me that she truly is one of my favorite authors. I feel like she's not always top of mind, but when I was thinking back back on the other 2 books I've read from her besides The Wake Up Call, I was like, wait, those were like almost 5-star reads for me, and The Wake Up Call was almost a 5-star. I just love her books so much. I feel like they're so swoon-worthy, and the characters always have layers to them, and the storyline just has so much depth and some kind of like unique little premise or concept. This one sounds no different. I cannot wait to read it. This one follows Dylan and Addie, and it sounds like they had a romance back in the day, but then things ended badly between them, and then a few years later they run into each other again. Literally, they run their cars into each other. I think they're both on the way to a mutual friend's wedding, so they end up having to ride together, and I think there's some unexpected guests they pick up along the way on this road trip, so it sounds like it's gonna have a lot of tension. The premise sounds so fun, and I'm really excited to read about these characters. They just sound very quirky and unique. This was also adapted into a show, so I'm excited to read it and then watch the show after. I also picked up The Frozen River. I kind of got this one on a whim. I just kept seeing it over and over, and everything I saw about it was rave reviews, so I thought it would be a good one to read during the winter time. All I really know is that it's historical fiction. Our main character is a midwife, and there's some kind of murder mystery aspect to the book that we're trying to uncover. The other thing that really made me pull the trigger and just go ahead and buy this one is that it's set in Maine, and I'm actually planning a trip to Maine right now. I'm planning to go later in the year with my husband, so anything Maine related I feel like I'm just drawn to, so that's what made me really want to pick this one up. But I am excited with how many good things I've heard about it. I'm definitely planning to read it soon before winter is over. And the last 2 books I have to show you guys were new releases that I pre-ordered and have finally come in. The first one being Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. This is book 3 in her When in Rome series. I know this one is following another one of the Walker sisters. We're following Emily. She is a teacher at the same school as her arch rival Jack, who ends up moving back to Rome, Kentucky after breaking off his engagement. It also sounds like Emily and Jack are both undercover writers. They write novels under a pen name. Something ends up happening that could potentially let Emily's secret pen name get out, so they work together to try and stop that from happening. It just sounds cute. I feel like Sarah Adams hasn't done a rivals to lovers story, so I'm interested to see how she's gonna do it. The storyline does sound so fun, and while I don't love her When in Rome series as much as I've loved her other series, I feel like these books are getting better and better, and I'm really excited for Emily's book especially because, again, the plot line sounds like it's gonna be such a fun time, and I love the tropes. Okay, and then ending off this haul with the book that I am the most excited for out of all of these books, and definitely the one that I'm planning to read first out of all the books in this haul. That is The Favorites by Lane Fargo. I cannot remember where I first saw this book. I feel like it was on one of those Goodreads articles that they put out about the upcoming new releases, and I saw that right after I had filmed my 2025 most anticipated new releases video, so I was so mad that I didn't include this one because I would have had I heard about it before filming that. But as I was learning about this book and reading the synopsis, I was like, Lane Fargo, why does that sound so familiar to me? Where have I heard that name? And I realized she is the author of They Never Learn, which is a dark academia. It sounds extremely different from this book, opposite end of the spectrum. It is more like violent and gory, but I really enjoyed that book, and I'm so excited that she's branching out and doing something totally different. This is a sports romance, childhood friends to strangers to lovers, literally my 2 very favorite tropes in one book, and everything I've seen about this has been amazing reviews. People who have already read it are giving it 4 5 stars and comparing it to Taylor Jenkins Reid, so I just cannot wait. The synopsis sounds amazing. We're following Katerina and Heath, and they met in their childhood and they had a little romance. It sounds like they end up both becoming figure skaters, and they are partners and they compete at the Olympics. They are kind of like this formidable duo. They are the pair to beat, but it also sounds like they had kind of a tumultuous roller coaster type of relationship because something ends up happening that ends their partnership at the Olympics. And then we flash forward, it's 10 years later, it's the anniversary of their last skate together, and a documentary is being made about the 2 of them and kind of what happened and what this big incident was. was. And so I think the couple is coming back and trying to set the record straight on what actually went down. It just sounds so good. I'm just so intrigued by that synopsis and by what everyone's saying and how different this is from Lane Fargo's other book that I read. I just cannot wait. I hope I'm not going in with too high of expectations, but I do just feel like I'm really gonna love this one. It sounds like it has 5-star potential. So those are all the books that I have to show you guys today. That is going to conclude this haul. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel if you're not already by hitting the red button down below so you can stick around and not miss out on any of my future book content. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys have read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them, what you think I should prioritize. If there's anything you want to see a reading blog for, let me know all of it down below in the comments and let's chat about books. Thank you guys again for being here and for watching, and I will see you so soon in my next one. Bye guys.